Well, good afternoon and welcome once again to Ed's Orchids. Now the plant in front of you is one I showed you, I think it was a couple of days ago, that wasn't doing very well, and it's a Brassidium, cross between Orange Charm and Oncidium Megaglossum. Now I've been trying to read up on these two different things, the Brassias and the Oncidiums. And if you read the web, you get so many conflicting reports. I mean, I read one that says Oncidiums grow much better in home environment rather than greenhouses. Because in greenhouses, the humidity tends to be too high for them, and they only like a humidity of 40. Now, I've read others that say completely the opposite, you know. So what do? I think the only thing you have to do is try out things, and if it starts growing, then stick to it. It's like I always say, if you've got plants that are growing well, don't change them. Only change them if you can see a deterioration in the conditions. Now with this one, I don't know what's happened to it. I've had it 12 months, it's done absolutely nothing. And as I said before, it's a Brassidium, so I'm going to take it out of its pot and I'm going to give it, I'm not going to give it into a bigger pot, I'm going to keep it in a small pot. I'm going to give it a slightly larger size of bark and perlite, and we'll see how it goes from there. So we'll take it out of its pot. I mean, you've got to be careful when you're repotting these type of plants, because the roots are so small you can easily damage them. We'll just have a look at this. Not much growth at all on the root system. Plenty and plenty of bad roots. About 3, maybe 4 decent roots. But I'll just take off this small bark, and then I'll get the scissors and take off all the dead roots, and I'll show you that in a minute. So I've trimmed all the dead roots off this one, and there's quite a few that are just growing now, but a lot of dead ones I've cut off. So this is the bark I'm going to put it into, with a bit of charcoal and some perlite. So we'll get that one potted up, and I think I've got another 2 to do of different varieties. So we'll get this plant potted up again and keep our fingers crossed for it. Mix all this up. Now this will be a nice free-flowing media. This whereabouts when you put water in, it'll just draw straight through. And then you'll not be in any danger of drowning the roots. I mean, drowning the roots, it just cuts off the air supply to it. Now this is where you've got to be careful with the roots. You've got to do it very gently, no pressing down hard. I've taken a couple of leaves off that were badly marked, and inside one of the leaves was this little root here coming up. But no pressing down. Just let the gaps fill up. It doesn't matter if there's 1 or 2 gaps in these, because they like the air. So I think we'll leave it at that. That's the, excuse me, that's the Brassidium, and hopefully I can show you that in a month's time and it will be doing much better. So I'll put the label back in. And another thing, a subscriber of mine named Kevin, he gave me 1 or 2 tips, said he had a plant that wasn't doing very well. So we've just grown a small suitable of 2 inch, but when he put it with more light on, or the plant that was facing more light, the pseudobulb there grow to 5 inches. So this is going to get a lot more light than I'm going to give it. So as I said before, we'll see what it's like at the end of the month. Now the next one I've got to have a look at is this, well, it's a shame to call it a Phragmipedium, but that's what it is. It's not looking good at all. The leaves are all yellowy and brown, but we'll have a look at the roots, see what they're like, if it has any roots. The media seems fine. Just 1 or 2 soggy roots that I'll take off now. So I think that's it. Sorry I switched the camera off before I did that, but the biggest root that I cut off was the soft one. Hello, and there's a little thing in here. There we are. Little centipede or something. That's now gone. That might have been causing some problems. Just take the roots back to where it's nice and green. Yep. Yep. And get this one potted up again. So you can't do a lot with this. You can't say you've got a very good reason that this is like it is, because you just don't know. So you just got to experiment and hope for the best. Keep this in a small pot. Keep it nice and upright. Press this down a bit at the sides so I'm not ruining any more roots down there. There's nothing wrong with this bark, so there must be something wrong with the plant itself. Anyhow, you never know with these plants, suddenly it can shock you and start sending up new growths, and so we'll just keep our fingers crossed that that's going to happen. Be very nice if it did. But no matter how many nice plants you have, you've always got a few that's not very good. Well, I've just unpotted this Phragmipedium here, and not happy with it at all. You can see the marks on the leaves there, look like rust, and there's a new growth here, you can see that as well. Look at that. Not good at all. So I'm just going to have a look at the roots. There's no new growth on the roots. There's plenty of roots, but we'll see how many of them is dead. And see, this is a new growth here, if I can get hold of it properly. But look at the edges of the leaves, you can see them all rusty. So we'll see what's going on there. I might have to cut those new growths off, but we'll just have a look at the roots to begin with. Well, I've cleaned the roots up on this, and if I had to film me cleaning the roots up, then you'd have been looking at somebody cleaning roots up for the next hour. It was terrible, awful. The root stock there is hard as iron, but nothing coming out of it, and I've taken a big growth off, taken it off from there, because everything to do with that growth was going rusty, if you know what I mean. So I've kept this piece of the thing on. I'll put it in a smaller pot, and I'll just trim the roots off at the bottom. Those where I've cut with a bit of dragon's blood, and we'll pot it back up again. Well, while I was just looking at this, I've had to take another 4 or 5 roots off that were not doing any good whatsoever. But I've dragon's blood it, so we'll see what happens up to now. I've left one of the growths off, but cut another one off. But I'm putting them in some new bark, some growth stones, and some calcium carbonate. So we'll see how that goes. Well, I've got a much smaller pot. I was in a 3 litre pot, now I've got it down to a 1 litre pot with cutting all the roots. So we'll just put this one up. Fits in nicely there. Yep. Surprising how much media these 1 litre pots take. And be careful not to bury it too deep, or else that's asking for trouble. If you bury it too deep, you'll get trouble around your rootstock. Not like the Phragmipediums where you bury the green, you know, the bottom of the leaves, but not these. And yeah, I'm going to leave that like that, I think. I'll try and straighten it up a little bit. I'll read that Phragmipedium like that. I haven't got a label for it, so I don't know what it is. It's probably another Ainsworthy eye, something like that. But that's another one potted up. Well, that's about all I've got for you today, so thank you very much for watching. We'll just finish up by having a look at these blooms. I've got very little of them, but some nice blooms just developing on this Phragmipedium Olaf Gruss, and that's got one spike there, and another one over the back there, so that should be beautiful. So once again, thanks very much for watching. Thanks to all my subscribers, and until next time, I'll see you all later. Bye.